Justin Herbert is a sitting duck, and the Chargers have no one to blame but themselves. The Dodgers respond to learning their first-round opponent by benching Clayton Kershaw, and USC has fallen out of the top 25, inspiring trolls to claim the Trojans would be better off in the Pac-12. Good morning. I'm James. And this is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the Faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is September 29, 2025. Welcome back to the home office. We've got a ton of football to get to. So much so that I broke out the whiteboard of infinite knowledge to explain. Good to see you. Do you like being in the know about LA sports? Well, if you do, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It will let you know when we drop an update. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. By all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, as you know, we have an expanded look at the scoreboard throughout the NFL season. And man, normally I would start with the Rams, but we've got to start with the Giants defeating the Chargers 21-18. We admit when we are wrong on this channel. I thought that there was no way in hell that the Bolts would lose. The Giants are a terrible football team. They panicked because they were 0-3 by starting a rookie in Jackson Dart. I was sitting there thinking even if the Chargers sleepwalked to the first half on the East Coast, they'd snap out of it and cruise to victory. Until Joe Alt got carted into the locker room in the first half. Now, the preliminary diagnosis on the tackle is a high ankle sprain. He's going to get an MRI to find out how bad the damage is. The dude could be out anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months, just to bottom line it. And this is why we spend a lot of time on this channel talking about linemen, offensive and defensive linemen. Because once Alt went down, the NFL declared open season on Justin Herbert, and the Chargers offense was shut down completely. Alt's injury is more important than anything the Giants did to win. You always hear, take nothing away from the team that won. Yeah, we're going to take away something from the team that won. If Alt was in there, do you think for a moment that the Chargers would have been held to 18 points without having their starting left tackle in there for the entire game? See for yourself. Look at how the Chargers offensive line, instead of improving over the offseason, has completely deteriorated. Do you remember 2 off seasons ago? Here comes Jim Harbaugh. We're going to draft Joe Alt because we believe that offensive linemen are weapons. That's why they drafted Alt number 5 in the first place, even though they already had a left tackle in Rashawn Slater. Then they go out and they add Brad Bozeman at center. Bozeman, by the way, not an elite free agent center at the time. Do you recall the playoff loss to Houston on January 11th of this year? Do you? See, the Texans had elite defensive ends. And the Chargers are like, we got elite offensive tackles. That ought to neutralize it. Nope. Because Houston stunted. They brought both ends in through the middle, and they just ran roughshod over Bozeman, Zion Johnson, and Salyer all day long, Jamari Salyer all day long. So you go, during the offseason, maybe the Chargers have figured it out. Address the interior of the offensive line. They had a ton of cap space. Build this wall around Justin Herbert the way the Rams built a wall around Matthew Stafford, and you're off and running. So do they replace Bozeman? Nope. Maybe they replace somebody in the draft. Nope. They drafted an offensive lineman, yes, in the 6th round. Nobody knows where the guy is. For all we know, he's bagging groceries at Stater Brothers. We're fine. Offensive linemen are weapons. And then Slater's knee implodes. So they move Joe Alt from right tackle to left, and they're thinking, everything is cool. But you look at this line. You look at a middle offensive line that for the most part returned intact. You remove arguably the best left tackle in the game. Where's the upgrade? Right? Then Mekhi Becton. The only upside that the Chargers added to their offensive line in the offseason, he goes down with a concussion. And you can't rehabilitate your head. We do not know how long that guy is going to be out. So, blasts out his ankle. His replacement, Austin Deculus, allowed 6 pressures Sunday. Justin Herbert, you can take a look down here on the impact on Herbert. Justin Herbert alone was hit 12 times yesterday. All from, wait for it, the edge rushers. Going after Deculus and Trey Pipkins. Both of them backups. Herbert was under pressure so many times that he threw 2 interceptions that the Giants converted into 10 points. So Harbaugh is looking over the landscape and he called it, quote, very concerning. Thanks. That is the difference in the game right there. Because you know there is only one thing that the Giants have, aside from, of course, one win. They have 4 first-round draft picks on the defensive line. So, we don't know how long Alt is going to be out. We don't know how long Becton is going to be out. We do know we're not going to see Rashawn Slater until 2026. This is a frightening problem for the Chargers. 3 damn good offensive linemen gone, and the only 2 that are consistent got the living daylights beaten out of them whenever you stunt up the middle. Now, this doesn't mean the season's over. It simply means trouble. The check engine light is a blinking, guys. Now, if you're looking for a bright side for the Chargers, Omari and Hampton rushed for 128 yards and a touchdown. Meanwhile, over at SoFi, Rams 27, Indianapolis 20. Matthew Stafford throws for 375 yards and 3 touchdowns, including an 88-yard strike to Tutu Atwell with less than 2 minutes to go. Stafford completed passes to 9 different receivers. We talked yesterday about how the scribes were just falling all over themselves, looking for a spare piece of ground just so that they could drool all over Daniel Jones's feet. As we predicted, though, Jones just reverted back to the mean. He threw 2 picks, both by Cam Curl. Meanwhile, Puka Nacua, 13 receptions for 170 yards and a touchdown. The man has more than 500 receiving yards in just 4 games. And there are scribes now who's asking if the guy's the best receiver in the NFL. By the way, do you remember how the Rams last year couldn't stop the run? Poona Ford continues to do Poona Ford things. 1 week after the Rams, led by Ford, held Saquon Barkley to just 46 yards, they shut down Jonathan Taylor of the Colts with 76. Problem perhaps resolved. The Dodgers, they walked over Seattle again, 6-1. Okay. The Dodgers are going to face the Reds in the first round of the playoffs, which will start at 6 p.m. Tuesday. Shohei Ohtani hit his 55th home run Sunday, but that's not the big story. We're going to get to those stories about the Dodgers in a moment. And by the way, there are no games involving LA teams today, and that's fine. Time to lock in on the pursuit of a repeat title. So, I'm guessing the Dodgers talked to Clayton Kershaw at length going into Sunday's game. Because if they didn't, that's one hell of a surprising slap to the face. Kershaw started Sunday and was told by Dave Roberts to go as long as he could. Which is odd, wouldn't you say? Completely meaningless game after all. So we were wondering all kinds of things going into Sunday. I was speculating that Andrew Heaney was going to pitch after getting called up from the Midwest Manure Pit. Nope. Kershaw pitches 5 1/3 shutout innings. He gets the win. He finishes his career, at least in terms of the regular season, with 223 wins, an ERA of 2.53, and 3,052 strikeouts. So what is his reward? You could sit the wild card series out, bruh. No, you're not going to make the roster. Somebody make it make sense. I will grant you, yes, he can be activated for the championship series or the World Series. But that's assuming the Dodgers get there. Nobody, and by the way, I was going through all the reports on Kershaw. All of them. National stories, the Times, the LA Daily News. Nobody sat there and said, hey, anything can happen in a short series. Wouldn't it be a good idea to include a 3-time Cy Young Award winner and 11-time All-Star on your roster? The guy who, if he didn't pitch as well as he did this year, you don't win the division. Not even the LA Times, which broke the story, asked. Instead, the beat writer is like, well, they got to have somebody who's an odd man out. Time to eat my bowl of chili. Even Roberts is talking about Cincinnati and said, quote, we can't take these guys lightly, unquote. No bleep. Especially when you consider that bullpen. Which, by the way, makes it even more odd that Kershaw didn't make the cut because the Reds have big problems with lefties. Kershaw pitches with, wait for it, his left hand. No, we don't need you. Sit over there. It's cool. Roberts, by the way, said it's a good bet Blake Snell will go game 1. Duh. Aside from winning 2 Cy Young Awards, Blake Snell is a lefty. Roberts also said he expects Max Muncy to be all systems go in the series. The winner of the best of 3 will head to Philly. If it matters, Cincinnati has not won a playoff series in 30 years. Now, we're probably going to go deeper into the matchups for tomorrow's clip, but for now, you should know this about Cincinnati. Super hitter-friendly ballpark. I've been there. It is a bandbox, but no Reds player hit 25 home runs. No pitcher earned 15 wins. The Dodgers are indeed heavy favorites until you look at that abomination of a bullpen. So, we'll see. This shouldn't surprise anybody, but USC fell out of the college football top 25. What is surprising is that the Twitter pinheads, when not telling us how potential political violence doesn't exist or it justifies a second civil war, all those Twitter people giving us their political hot takes, they are now turning into sports hot take folks by telling us the Trojans made a huge mistake by leaving the Pac-12 for this. And I suppose I can see their point. After all, the Pac-12 wasn't mismanaged so bad that the entire conference imploded once USC left. Oh no, everybody else but USC was loving them some Pac-12 management. No, it wasn't so bad that they didn't have a TV contract and that that the conference was telling its teams that they were going to get a streaming contract with Apple TV that was going to be more lucrative than CBS and NBC. Oh, sure, you believe that, don't you? After all, everyone in Major League Soccer is farting through silk sheets with all that money that they got because they left Fox and ESPN for Apple TV. Really? Everybody had that Pac-12 network, by the way, didn't they? You couldn't get enough Pac-12 network on your cable, could you? Just 24/7, just hooked on the Pac-12 network. Can't get enough of it. Wait, you mean to tell me you haven't heard of the Pac-12 network? Really? If USC had stayed, and by the way, no Pac-12 team is qualified for the college football playoffs in 6 years? Pre-COVID? Social media is the worst. I do want to mention one other thing about USC football, by the way. Mekhi Lemon is obviously having a hell of a year, but I think we ought to tap the brakes on calling him the best receiver in college football. It's not that Lemon isn't terrific. He clearly is. But when Jacoby Lane comes back, those touches are going to split, and they should. Meanwhile, Arizona State's Jordan Tyson is going to continue to put up first-round numbers. Now, to be clear, I have yet to read a scouting report that thinks Lemon is not a high pick. But they don't think he's very big. They say he keeps playing bigger than his size. That's going to hold him back a little bit. The Athletic has examined a common claim from the Clippers while they try to spin their way out of the Kawhi Leonard aspiration kerfuffle, whether or not the Clippers did or did not do an end run around the NBA salary cap. The claim from the Clippers is that signing endorsement deals where the player does no work is not unusual in the NBA. That's their claim. Now, it's a very convoluted story, so let's just cut to the chase. According to the report, The Athletic, quote, could not find another financial relationship between an NBA team and one of its chief sponsors similar to the one between the Clippers and Aspiration, in which team ownership contributed millions of dollars to the sponsors' coffers. While it is not unusual for team owners and sponsors to be close, in those cases, players on the team do not have separate endorsement deals with the team sponsor. In other words, that claim The Athletic is alleging does not hold water at all. Finally, with the Rams, Steve Avila was expected to return to action in Sunday. He missed the last 2 games with a sprained ankle. He didn't. Justin Herbert started in his stead, and you know the result of the game. So you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about how much trouble Justin Herbert and the Chargers are actually in. And are you annoyed with Clayton Kershaw not being included in the first-round playoff roster for the Dodgers? And if you enjoyed this update, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James, and we'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.